Hello and a warm welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shubowale. The U.S. Embassy in Uganda's capital, Kampala, has issued a warning about rumors of a possible attack in areas frequented by expats. But it adds that there is no substantial evidence of the threat or information on the timing. The warning echoes a similar statement issued by the U.S. Embassy in Tanzania on Wednesday evening. In the rare security alert, the U.S. Embassy in Tanzania told its citizens that to take precautions after saying there were rumors of impending attacks in a tourist area of the main city, Dar es Salaam. We'll have more on that story, but in the meantime, in West Africa, at least 17 people have died in Burkina Faso after militants attacked people living in a village in the north of the country. The country's defense minister says an armed terrorist group carried out the assault on Tuesday night in the district of Tongo-Mayel. He says a massive military operation is underway to secure the area. There have been numerous recent attacks in northern Burkina Faso, many carried out by jihadists. There have also been ethnic clashes. Earlier this month, 19 villagers were killed in the neighboring district of Arbinda. Now, U.S. Secretary General Antonio Guterres has today issued a statement to mark World Refugee Day. He says, quote, "On World Refugee Day, my thoughts are with more than 70 million women, children and men, refugees and internally displaced persons who have been forced to flee war, conflict and persecution," end of quote. Mr. Guterres also recognized the humanity of countries hosting refugees while also struggling with their own economic challenges and security concerns. Meanwhile, the United Nations and the Norwegian Refugee Council says developing countries, not rich Western nations, are bearing the brunt of the world's refugee crisis and are hosting most of the record 70.8 million displaced people who have fled war and persecution.
On a visit to Ethiopia's biggest displaced people's camp, Norwegian Refugee Council Secretary General Jan England says Ethiopia has more than 1.5 million people displaced. This contributes to the over 70 million refugees and internally displaced people in the world now due to war and conflict.
That's the highest number since the Second World War. So it's a tremendous wake-up call, I think, for governments, for diplomats, but for all of us. The way it is going now, it is not going well.
Mr. Eglin adds that in his life as an aid worker, he has not seen worse conditions like the ones witnessed in Ethiopia.
Some of the worst conditions I've seen as an aid worker in my entire life as a humanitarian. More than 20 people per little cubicle in an old industrial area. There isn't even a steady flow of food. We got fresh water to them. That's the only thing that is functioning there. There are 200 people per latrine. The north is failing. 16% of refugees are now hosted by the rich world. It's the poorest of countries, it's those who are developing who are now shouldering the major burdens. In Ethiopia, even assistance is not there. We have, as humanitarian organizations on the ground, a quarter of what we need for basic humanitarian relief this year, 2019.
Meanwhile, in Arua, Uganda, South Sudanese refugees have integrated with local communities and are helping with conservation of the environment as they plant trees to increase forest cover. According to the UNHCR, more than 2/3 of the world's refugees come from 5 countries: Syria, Afghanistan, South Sudan, Myanmar and Somalia.
Now, in a demonstration of the power of football and other sports to promote peace, coaches from Italian football club Sampdoria have held a training camp for refugees and local youth in Uganda. Uganda hosts Africa's largest refugee population, 1.2 million people. The majority of them are children who have endured great loss and untold suffering.
Patrick Amber warms up quickly, then joins a match being played on a field in Arua, northern Uganda. His family fled their hometown of Yei and the civil war in South Sudan 3 years ago. Like Patrick, the majority of South Sudan's refugee population are under the age of 18, with over half out of school or struggling to learn in ill-equipped, overcrowded facilities. Patrick says soccer helps him stay positive.
When I play football, I feel happy. I feel like I'm an important member of the community and I can share my ideas with other people.
Resources like balls and shoes are scarce here, but Patrick is convinced that football is an opportunity for a better life, just like it is for his footballing heroes.
The way I play football, people call me Martial, but I think I play more like Mo Salah.
You play on the left side. You are here.
14-year-old Patrick was among 64 players from refugee settlements and most communities in northern Uganda chosen to train with coaches from Sampdoria, a top Italian football club.
Our target is that guys finish 3 days and say, okay, now I know what is to play in maybe. I have an idea what is to play in a football professional player.
We can try, you understand all? We try. If you answer, is this one.
The 73-year-old football club partnered with the Italian Embassy in Uganda, the International Olympic Committee, the Ugandan Olympic Committee, and the Federation of Uganda Football Association, Italian NGO ACAV, and the UN Refugee Agency to organize a football clinic. The 3-day training includes coaching on dribbling and passing skills, as well as a series of drills to build coordination, control, and discipline.
Now, as the world marks the 2019 World Refugee Day, attention is being drawn to the plight of thousands of Cameroonian refugees spread across different parts of Cross River State here in Nigeria. This year's commemoration seems to serve as a reminder to the Cross River State government to restate its commitment towards ensuring the safety of refugees in the state. The promise was made at a conference held to highlight the challenges faced by refugees. Our correspondent, Imani Ode, reports.
One fact is constant across the continent. People have been forced to leave their homelands as a result of violence and the search for a better life. It is estimated that about 40,000 refugees from Cameroon are in Nigeria. About 30,000 of them camped in different communities of Cross River State, South Nigeria. Yet, as the days go by, more of these Cameroonian refugees come into the state. One of their challenges, abject poverty. The state government says their safety, shelter, and general well-being is paramount.
One of the very serious problems that we have here is malaria, which is endemic with us. So we are going to drop nets with them. We are going to drop hematinics and, of course, general drugs that we know for diseases that are endemic in the camp.
We have about 27,000 or more of refugees. Every day we have influx of it. They're coming for registration. We're doing biometrics on them. Then giving them the necessary things that they require, like shelter, giving them protection. We must give them dignity. That is the essence of us here. And the governor is relenting on that.
To take a step with refugees on World Refugee Day is to commit to ensuring their safety while they are in the States. This press conference by the state government is to further spread the message to the world that refugees are assets and not a burden.
They are survivors. They are courageous people who can also contribute to the vibrancy of life in the communities and countries where they find themselves. And they deserve to be honored and supported for their courage. To put it simply, the refugees are an asset and not a burden.
For the United Nations, the institution of a comprehensive refugee response framework has helped to streamline the challenges faced by refugees.
It's a day which gives us an opportunity to recognize the challenge, the resilience, the strengths that refugees are undergoing. And at the same time, it gives us as well the opportunity to recognize their contributions to the community in which they are in. And at the same time, it gives us the opportunity to thank those communities, host communities, who are hosting refugees in an open mind and heart. And most importantly, the government, and in this case, the state, Cross River State, which receives those refugees.
Highlights of the event was the signing of a commitment bond by the Cross River State governments and the United Nations to stand with the thousands of refugees spread across the states. Imani Ode, Channels Television News.